Good morning, class 5. Let's continue with our chapter 13, states of matter. In our previous class, we had done some topics under this. So today we will discuss the rest portion of this chapter. Okay. Now, in our previous class, we had done matter, three states of matter, changes in the states of matter. Okay. So today we will start from physical and chemical changes. So all of you take out your science book, which is Millennium Science for Juniors 5, and the publication is Millennium Bookstores Private Limited. All of you open page number 125, Physical and Chemical Changes of chapter 13, States of Matter. Now let's start with the physical and chemical changes. The changes in the states of matter are of two types, physical change and chemical change. Physical change, a change that is temporary and can be reversed, is a physical change. Consider the following changes. Ice changes into water when heated or kept at room temperature, and water changes back into ice on cooling or freezing. Solid wax melts on heating, and liquid wax turns into solid wax on cooling. Now, changes in the states of matter are of two types. There are two types of changes in the states of matter. The first one is the physical and the second one is chemical. Now, what is a physical change? Physical change is a temporary change and it can be reversed. Okay, means a solid into liquid or a liquid into solid. Take an example of ice. Okay, when we take out ice from a freezer, what happens? It starts melting. Okay, when we take out ice from a freezer and kept it outside for some time, what we see that that ice change its form into water or it melts. Okay, but when we freeze water, then what happens? That water changes its form from liquid to solid and becomes a ice. Okay, now what happens in physical change? जो भी solid है, solid changes into liquid and liquid changes into solid. Take an example of ice or a wax or a ice cream. What happens when we heat a wax, a solid wax? Okay, what happens? That solid turns into liquid. Okay, and when we cool down, when we cool or freeze that, or when that wax cools down, then again it changes its form and becomes a solid. Okay, so आइस में क्या होता है कि जब भी हमने फ्रीजर से हमने जैसे ही आइस निकाली और थोड़ी देर के लिए हमने मतलब उसको बाहर छोड़ दिया, तो वो आइस मेल्ट हो जाएगी, मीन्स पिघल जाएगी और वो it will take a form of liquid. Okay, so that ice will convert it into water. So that is melting. Ice into water is melting and water into ice is freezing. और फिर से जब हमें आइस चाहिए तो हमने क्या किया, वाटर को हमने एक आइस क्यूब्स आइस ट्रे में हमने वाटर फिल किया and we placed that ice tray in a freezer. What happens after some time? We see that water changed its form and becomes a solid, an ice. Okay, same thing happens with the solid wax also. It happens with the candle waxes also. When we light up a candle, what happens? The wax, okay, that starts melting, and when that wax cools down, what happens? It again becomes a solid. Okay, so this is a physical change in which a solid is changed into liquid or a liquid into solid. Okay, now turn page number 126. Third is inflating and deflating of a balloon, wetting and drying of clothes. In all the above mentioned changes, we noticed that the change was temporary as well as reversible. A physical change shows following properties: that it is temporary and reversible mostly, only a change in the state occurs, no new substance is formed, the properties of the substance do not change. Now, when we inflate or deflate a balloon, then also there is a physical change. Okay, when we inflate a balloon, then we add air into a balloon, and when we deflate a balloon, then we remove air from an inflated balloon. मीन्स एक balloon से जब हमने एयर निकाल दी तो वो क्या हो गया? डिफ्लेट हो गया, उसका साइज स्मॉल हो गया. बट वापस से जब हमने उस बलून में एयर को ऐड किया, एयर फिल किया, तो क्या हुआ? इट अगेन बिकम्स inflated. So this proves that physical change is temporary and reversible. Okay, then fourth one is wetting and drying of clothes. Yes, now when we put wet clothes in contact with the sunlight, what happens? The water present in that clothes, it gets evaporated and the clothes become dry. Okay, and when we add water, or suppose the clothes are hanging at a terrace, the clothes are kept on a terrace, and what happens? Suddenly a rain comes, all dry clothes are converted into wet clothes. So this is a physical change. Okay, and it is temporary, because again when we will put that clothes in contact with the sunlight, what will happen? The water present in that clothes, it will get evaporated and the clothes again will become dry. Okay, so this proves that physical change is a temporary and reversible change, and there is a change only in the state. जो उसकी state है, means solid, liquid, gas, जो भी changes होते हैं वो उन states में ही होते हैं. Then no new substance is formed. Changes, जो भी changes हो रहे हैं, whatever changes have been made, whatever changes had been occurred, they will not form any new substance. Okay, then the properties of the substance do not change. Yes, the properties means whatever the properties of a solid, liquid or gas, they will not get changed. Okay, now I hope physical change is clear to all of you. Now come to chemical change. A change that is permanent and cannot be reversed at all is a chemical change. In this change, a new substance is formed. Consider the following changes. A piece of paper burns and changes into ash. Cooking of food, burning of wood, coal, petrol, etc. Digestion of food in the body. In the above examples, we can see that by no means the ash formed due to burning of paper can be changed back into paper again. Similarly, the cooked food cannot be reserved back to raw food items. These are all permanent changes and result in the formation of a new substance. A chemical change has following properties. It is permanent and irreversible. A permanent change occurs in the state of the substance. A new substance is formed. The properties of the original substance change. The new formed substance has different properties. Now, as we all know that physical change is temporary, but chemical change is permanent and it cannot be reversed as physical change can be reversed. Okay, so in this chemical change, what happens? Whatever changes are occurred, they form a new substance. जो भी changes होंगे उससे एक new substance form होगा. Okay, as chemical change is a permanent change, it cannot be reversed at all. That's why whatever changes will occur, they will form a new substance, or it will form a new substance. Okay, now let's see some examples. Like when we burn a piece of paper, what happens? That paper changes its form into ash. Then that ash can be reversed into a piece of paper? No. Then cooking of food. When we cook a food, what happens? We use raw food to cook. Okay, so can a cooked food be reversed into a raw food? No. The fruits and vegetables which we used for cooking a food, that is it possible to change that fruits and vegetables into a raw food, fruits and vegetables? No. Okay, so cooking of food is a chemical change. Then burning of wood, coal, petrol, etc. Is it a physical change or a chemical change? This is also a chemical change, because when we burn a wood, that wood changes its form into coal and that coal changes its form into ash. Okay, and petrol, what happens with the petrol? When we burn that petrol, it gets evaporated. It gets evaporated or changes its form into gaseous state. That's why this is also a chemical change. Then digestion of food in the body. Yes, the food which we eat, that gets digested in our body, and that digested food can be converted. Is it possible to convert the digested food into a raw food or a cooked food or uneaten food? No, it's not possible. Okay, so this is also a chemical change. Now, in the above examples, we see that by no means the ash formed due to burning of paper can be changed back into paper again. No, ash cannot be changed into paper. Similarly, the cooked food cannot be reversed back to raw food items. These are all permanent changes and result in the formation of a new substance. Yes, a new substance is formed when we cook a food. What happens? Raw food items are changed into cooked food. So that cooked food is a new substance, and when we burn a piece of paper, it turns into ash. That ash is a new substance. Okay, then when we eat a food and that gets digested, that digested food gives us energy. So that energy is a new substance. Okay, now I hope chemical change is clear to all of you. A chemical change has following properties. It is permanent and irreversible. Yes. A permanent change occurs in the state of the substance. Yes. A new substance is formed. The properties of the original substance change. the new formed substance has different properties. Yes. Now there are some differences between a physical change and a chemical change. Now let's see what is this. Physical change is temporary, chemical change is permanent. Physical change is reversible, chemical change is irreversible. In physical change occurs only in states. Okay, but in chemical change what happens? A permanent change occurs in the state of substance. Then in physical change no new substance is formed, but in chemical change a new substance is formed. Then in physical change properties of the substance does not change. In chemical change properties of the original substance changes. Okay, so these are some differences between the physical and the chemical changes. Now turn to the page 127. Now, solubility. You have studied in your previous class that a substance that dissolves completely in another liquid is called a soluble substance. The molecules of a soluble substance dissolves when they get into the spaces between the molecules of the other substance. This is the reason why liquids are generally used to dissolve solids. The soluble substance and the liquid together make a solution. Materials that do not dissolve are called insoluble substances. Now, what is the solubility? Solubility is about those substances which dissolves completely in another liquid. Okay. Now, solubility means dissolving completely. So it is divided into two parts, although there are two substances which are dealt here. Number one is soluble substance and the second one is insoluble substances. Now what are soluble substances? Soluble substances are those substances which gets dissolved completely in another liquid. Okay, like salt and water, salt and sugar, salt, sugar and water, and a lemon juice also, which will make a lemonade. So these all are the soluble substances, means ऐसे substances जो किसी दूसरे liquid में completely dissolve हो जा रहे हैं, okay, which becomes invisible. They are soluble substances. Now the molecules of a soluble substance dissolve when they get into the spaces between the molecules of the other substances. Now the molecules of a soluble substance like salt, sugar, lemonade, okay, they get dissolved when they get a space between the molecules of the other substance. Like suppose take an example of a sugar and a water. Okay, now when the molecules of a sugar will get space in between the molecules of a water, then it will get dissolved completely. Okay, then this is the reason why liquids are generally used to dissolve solids. This is the reason, this is the only reason that liquids are required to dissolve solids, because the molecules present in liquid have some space between them, or the molecules present in a liquid are loosely packed. But in solids what happens? The molecules are closely packed. They don't have space to move, but in liquids they have space to move around. Yeah, that's why liquids are generally used to dissolve solids. The soluble substance and the liquid together make a solution. Yes. The soluble substances like sugar, salt, lemonade, then okay, so what happens with these things? They get dissolved into a water or with any other liquid. So any liquid and a soluble substance, when they get mixed together, that makes a solution. Okay? जब भी एक soluble substance और एक liquid को हम लोग mix करेंगे, when we will mix together, what will happen? A solution will be formed. Okay? For an example of a sugar, salt, lemonade, lemon juice and a glass of water. This will make a lemonade. Okay? Now, materials that do not dissolve are insoluble substances. Now, insoluble substances are opposite of soluble substances. As soluble substances gets dissolved completely in another liquid, but the insoluble substances they do not dissolve in another liquid. Okay. Now, water is the most common liquid that can dissolve a large variety of substances. They can be solids, liquids or gases. However, there are many substances that do not dissolve in water. Now, water is the most common liquid that can dissolve a large variety of substances. Water is a liquid which can dissolve so many types of substances into it. Okay, now the substances can be solids, they can be liquids or gases. However, many substances do not dissolve in water, but there are some substances which does not dissolve in water, like oil, soil, then your the thermocol balls, they will not get dissolved in water. Okay. Now, in activity 1, there are some substances which are to be dissolved. You have to write the observations. Okay. Now, then solids in water. Sugar and salt dissolve in water and form a solution. Now, sugar and salt, yes, they get dissolved in water and they form a solution. Therefore, we say that they are soluble in water. Yes, they are. That's why we say that sugar and salt are soluble in water. But chalk, sand, soil and wood are some insoluble substances that do not dissolve in water. Yes, here are some examples of insoluble substances like chalk, chalk powder, chalk, sand, soil, wood, which are insoluble substances, and insoluble substances does not dissolve in water. Now, put some potassium permanganate particles in water and observe. Note down your observations. Are potassium permanganate particles soluble in water? Does the color of water change? If yes, then why? Now, here is an activity for you all, that you have to add some potassium permanganate particles into a water and you have to note down the observations, that does the potassium permanganate is soluble in water or the color of that water changes or not. Okay, no, it will not. As you can see in the picture that some potassium permanganate particles were added into a water. So what happens? All the particles are settled down because that particles are heavy. Okay, that's why all the heavy particles are settled down and the clear water is above, and the color of water also does not change. I hope this much is clear to all of you. Now turn to the page 128. Now Liquids in water. Some liquids also dissolve in water like milk, glycerine and alcohol. Liquids that dissolve completely in other liquids are called miscible liquids. Juices like apple juice and lemon juice also dissolve in water. However, some liquids such as oils and paints do not dissolve in water. Such liquids are called immiscible liquids. They form a separate layer above the water when mixed into it. Do all liquids mix in each other? Let's perform activity 2 to find out. Now, as in solids we have discussed about the soluble and insoluble substances, like that only in liquids there are two types of liquids, miscible liquids and immiscible liquids. Now what are the miscible liquids? Miscible liquids are those liquids which gets dissolved in water completely, and immiscible liquids are those which does not dissolve in water. Now, what are the examples of miscible liquids? Milk, glycerine, alcohol, apple juice, lemon juice. Okay. Now, what are the examples of immiscible liquids? Like paints, oils. Okay. No, oils and paints are immiscible liquids as it does not dissolve in water. What they do? They form a separate layer. Immiscible liquids form a separate layer above the water when we mix into it. Yep. Now let's perform activity 2. See, liquid mixtures. Materials: glasses, teaspoon, water, apple juice, cooking oil, liquid detergent. Now steps. What we have to do? There are 3 separate glasses and all are filled with water. Okay. In first glass we will add some apple juice and stir it. What will happen? Apple juice will mix easily with water. Then in second what we will do? We will add some cooking oil. Now what we will see? We will see that water and oil do not mix together. Okay, oil will form a separate layer on water, above the water. You can see the second beaker, the second glass of water. There is a layer on water, above the water. Okay. Then in third glass, what we will do? We will add some liquid detergent and mix it. What will happen? That liquid now what we have to do? We have to add some liquid detergent to the above mixture of water and oil. We have to add that liquid detergent in glass 2 on the oil ones. Okay, what we will see? We will see that oil and liquid detergent gets mixed with the water. Okay. So the conclusion is that apple juice gets mixed with water completely. Oil, separate oil, only oil or paint will form a separate layer above the water. It will not mix together with water. Okay. And in third, what is the conclusion? In third, the conclusion is that the oil and the liquid detergent, they both get dissolved into the water. Now, emulsion. As you noticed in the above activity, when liquid detergent was added, oil mixed with water. The liquid detergent acts as an emulsifier. It makes oil and water mix. Such a mixture is called an emulsion. Now, as we all know that water and paint does not get mixed with water, but in activity 2, the third one, what we have done, we have added liquid detergent to the mixture of oil and water, and that gets dissolved. So that mixture is known as emulsion, and in this the liquid detergent acts as an emulsifier. Okay. Now, gases in water. Some gases also dissolve in water like oxygen, nitrogen, ammonia and carbon dioxide. When we boil water, the bubbles formed in the vessel are nothing but the dissolved gases that escape from water on heating. Now, there are some gases which gets dissolved into water like oxygen, nitrogen, ammonia and carbon dioxide. Okay, so when we boil water, what happens? The bubbles are formed in that in the vessel. That bubbles are nothing. They are just the dissolved gases. जो भी gases उसमें water में mixed थी, which are dissolved, they escape from the water on heating. Okay. One of the gases dissolved in water like rivers, lakes and oceans etc. is oxygen. Now the gas which is dissolved in water bodies like rivers, lakes, oceans, seas, that is oxygen. Since oxygen is soluble in water, aquatic life is possible. As oxygen is soluble in water, that's why aquatic life means the aquatic animals are able to survive in there. Yeah, so that's why aquatic animals are able to survive there. That is why we can say that aquatic life is possible. The aquatic animals take in this dissolved oxygen to breathe in water. These water bodies also contain nitrogen dissolved in them. Now, the aquatic animals, what they do? How they breathe? Or which gas they breathe in? They breathe in oxygen. Okay, so from where that oxygen comes? Or the oxygen which is dissolved in water, that oxygen the aquatic animals breathe in. Okay, and the rivers, oceans, lakes, ponds, these all water bodies contain nitrogen also. Okay, now see page number 129. In aerated drinks, carbon dioxide gas is dissolved to make them fizzy. When we open such a bottle, the bubbles of dissolved carbon dioxide gas rush outside. Now, in aerated drinks means the soft drinks which we used to drink like the Coca-Cola, Thums Up, Pepsi, all the cold drinks you can say. Okay, what happens? In that, the carbon dioxide gas is dissolved. Carbon dioxide gas is mixed with that drinks just to make a fizzy, just to make bubbles. Okay, that's why only when we open a bottle, when we open that types of bottles, what happens? The bubbles of dissolved carbon dioxide rush outside. They start rushing outside. Okay. Now, I hope students this chapter is clear to all of you, and if you have any problem, then please ask me. This completes your chapter, and your homework is to complete the exercises in your book and revise the taught portion. Thank you, class.